One of the things that we have to do as we're pursuing our dreams and our goals is that we have to know that failure is not an option. You've got to tell yourself, despite the circumstances, the situation, I'm not going anywhere until I get the goal. Until I make my dreams become a reality, I'm not quitting. I don't care how much money I have to invest. I don't care how much time I have to invest. I'm going to continue to do this until I become successful. Every time I stand up here and do what I'm doing, all I can remember was sleeping in abandoned buildings. That's all I could think about. But I kept trying and I kept trying and I kept going. I was consistent and I'm standing here today. Every single day when I come, I show up and I let failure know failure is not an option. You can't even let it sink into your brain, not even a second. You have to know that this thing is going to work. Come hell or high water, whatever it is that I set out to do, it may not happen in 6 months, it may not happen in a year, it may not happen in 2 years, but at some point, my dream is going to become a reality.
Oh. You alright?
Yep, you good?
Yeah, good.
Right, we're finally on 500k subscribers. Happened a lot quicker than we thought it would.
500,000 subs.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad. 4 months, 5 months?
Yeah, it's August.
Awesome.
Good.
Awesome.
So, I thought for this, to give back to the fans a bit, I thought that we could maybe talk through your 500 kilo deadlift, how, like literally everything, how it happened. We want to talk about before, during, after, the effects.
So like how I did it and
Yeah.
how it came about, how I did it, how it led up to it, the thought process.
Yeah.
Okay, right. I mean, the 500 kilo deadlift was something that's been talked about for many, many years. It is, I remember reading on strength forums, are we ever going to see a 500 kilo deadlift in our lifetime? And every single answer was no. And I remember back in 2015, I pulled the world record deadlift, 463 kilos in front of an 8,000 strong crowd in Leeds, and I did it pretty easy. I did it for a speed rep. And I remember going to the promoters after that show, and at the time, I was doing okay money-wise, but I felt as though I needed to up the ante. I needed a nice bit of pocket change to take me to become the world's strongest man. So I said to the promoters after I pulled the 463, if someone was to come and pull 500 kilo next year, how much would you pay them? And they literally looked at each other and were like, how much do you want? So we agreed a deal. And within that deal, I had a friend go away, and I can't say too much about it obviously, but I had a friend go away and put a big bet on me pulling 500 kilo off the floor, considering that the world record at the time was 37 kilos under what I was claiming to go and be able to be done. So I guess the reason why I did it was for money. Point blank, I needed the money to become the world's strongest man. Spending £250 a week on food, £250 a week on physio, another £250 a week on recovery methods such as shockwave treatments, chirotherapy, stuff like that. And then all the other costs and expenses, buying mouth guards and elbow sleeves and whatever else. I was easily spending £800 a week on myself just to become the world's strongest man. That's not including the mortgage, the bills, the kids, the wife, the cars. That's £800 a week just on me to become the world's strongest man. And money was running out fast. I had some great deals in place, some great sponsors, but no one could sort of support that kind of, $4,000 a month just on me. And then I've got to pay the bills. I was digging into my savings very quick. So that was my incentive behind the 500 kilo. I needed the money to become the world's strongest man. Now, I went on the journey of trying to pull 500 kilo off the floor from 2015 to 16. I think it's probably 4 months in. I'm pulling in training. The most I ever pulled in training was 455 kilos. Every time I went above that, my head would fall off. I don't know why or how. I remember I attempted 485 in training and I couldn't get it past my knees. And that's when I thought to myself, I'm in trouble. I've made this statement. I believe, I was very vocal about it. I told everybody, I put it on the news, I put it on social medias, I told everyone. And everyone was laughing at me. Everyone was sort of saying, Eddie Hall's deluded, he's a dickhead, he's full of himself, he's just after attention, like the Conor McGregor really, very vocal and sort of very putting it out there unnecessarily. But I had to do that to put pressure on myself. 4 months in, and I'm stuck. I can't get above a certain weight, and the pressure's on. So, luckily I was in a good financial position then. And I surrounded myself with an amazing team. I had blood doctors, my own doctors, psychiatrists, hypnotherapists, physios, coaches, nutritionists, you name it, I had it. And I used all that to my full advantage. So I was suggested to go and see a certain scientist who specialized in strength, and how to release strength and how the human body works and sort of recruiting muscle fibers and how you relay that into movements. And he explained to me that a day-to-day person, takes the kids to school, goes to work, goes shopping, whatever, they have access to 50% of the muscle fibers at most. Someone that trains sort of 20-30 hours a week, so quite an elite sportsman or sports person, would have access to, I think it was 65 to 70%. I think 70% was the maximum that they could recruit to their muscle fibers. So, someone like myself training 30 odd hours a week in the gym can only have access to 70% of my true potential. But then he explained to me that you have scenarios that have, literally this has been recorded as well, where families and people have been in car crashes and people have been trapped under cars, mostly kids, and women have been able to lift a car up off the ground and save their children. And that's been recorded. And he explained to me that they can recruit 100% of their muscle fibers through the fight or flight scenario, and it's something that can't be faked. It's something that it can only happen under a certain circumstance. So, for instance, if someone's got a gun to your head saying, "Give me your wallet," you're going to give them your wallet. If they've got a gun to your head saying, "Punch that guy in the face," you're going to punch that guy in the face. If you've got a gun to your head saying, "Pick up that 200 kilo deadlift or I'm going to blow your head off," you're going to give it a good go, aren't you? And more than likely you're going to do it. So it was that fight or flight scenario that I walked away with that knowledge, like, right, I've got to get myself in a situation where I get a mass release of adrenaline and I'm able to lift this 500 kilo off the floor. So I started talking with a psychiatrist first about how to sort of dive into this and how to access, get into that part of the brain, and then we turned to a hypnotherapist who ended up working the two together, and we had to talk about things that got me angry, got me upset, made me things that I loved, things that I hated, and we were able to talk about a situation. And this situation was very dark and gloomy, that I can't say it out loud because you would seriously just think I'm an absolute sicko for thinking this in my own head, but it's something that I had to do. And basically put me in a situation in my head where I'm not lifting a weight off the floor, but pulling a person off of my kids. So basically I had to do all my training with that in my head. The training was very intense for the 500 kilo. I would lock myself in the toilets at the gym. I would literally stand there staring at myself in the mirror and just thinking these horrible thoughts, and then I'd kick the door down, go walk up to that bar and rip the bar off the floor. I never went above 450 for the simple purpose I didn't want to destroy my CNS. I didn't want to destroy my central nervous system. And I got in my head that if the 500 kilo is going to happen, it's only going to happen once in my life because it's such a dangerous feat of strength. So, the day of the lift, it was a normal day. I woke up, had breakfast, I did my physio, went to the arena, stretching off, nice and cool. And then, you know, we go through the warm-up lifts, all backstage, everything's cool. We go through the 420, I think I pulled 465 for the new world record, and I did it for a speed rep, an absolute speed rep. Probably as quick as somebody would stand up out of a chair. That's how quick I pulled the current world record. And I think it was at that point that the whole crowd silenced. I think it was that point that everyone believed me. Everyone realized that I wasn't talking crap. And I remember going backstage after the 465, and again, I just locked myself in the disabled toilet in the back of the arena stage, and I'm just staring in the mirror. Just staring at myself and going into this abyss, going into this horrible situation that I'm sort of preparing myself for. You know, I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm sort of envisioning myself in this situation, psyching up, deep breathing. I've got a couple of pals of mine just in my ear, you know, telling me I can walk on water, basically. And then I just remember looking in the mirror, and that I don't know how or why it happened, but a massive euphoria of self-confidence just came over myself. It was like a little flick switch in my brain that just went, let's go. And I just 90-degree turn, out that disabled toilet door, kicked it off the hinges, out I went, suit up, straps on, wrist straps on, bath guard in, walked up to the deadlift, and I think I remember asking the crowd to be just to be quiet, just let me get my thought process. And there was a man refereeing the contest, Dave Warner, good friend of mine actually. But I remember looking at Dave, and this wasn't pre-planned. And I remember looking at Dave, and I turned Dave into this devil. You know, I just stared at him, twisted my head, and just like, I'm gonna kill you. I am going to kill you. And then the trigger point came. I was just like, boom, right, I'm ready, I'm in the scenario. And I'm blacking out then. I'm sort of, you know, I'm in and out. I'm in the arena, but I'm not in the arena. And I remember bending down, strapping onto the bar, rocking it back and forth. And then just on that last rock, I just leant forward, leant back, and my eyes just closed, and I start pulling. And I want you to look at my eyes as I'm pulling that deadlift. My eyes open, and not intentionally, and they open, and my eyes change colour. They actually change colour. They went the brightest, most turquoisey blue I've ever seen a man's eyes go. They changed colour, and I finished off, I locked the lift out, and that's when I woke up, and I was just sort of like at the top of the lift looking around like, have I done it? Jesus Christ. Hit the deck, massive puddle of blood on the floor. Everyone runs over, they're wiping the blood away. I don't know how much blood came out my face, but it felt like a lot. I've never felt as much blood rush out of my nose as I had at that point in my life. And they take my shirt off, take my suit off, and then the blood pressure must have changed up or whatever. I went unconscious. And I've watched the footage back, and I'm sort of in people's arms, and I'm in and out of consciousness. I'm sort of convulsing, just sort of like, you know, not quite sure where I am. And you know, there people keep wiping blood away, it keeps coming out my nose, and then someone just whispers in my ear like, Ed, get up, man, get up, make it look easy. So get the fuck off me. Everyone backs away, stand up, did my little speech to the crowd, thanked the wife. And then backstage, boom, out again. Paramedics on me, get me on the table, checking my heart rate through the roof, well over 200 beats per minute. Blood pressure was unreadable. They put an ECG on me to try and get some sort of gauge of what my heart was doing. Couldn't get one. We'll do it again. Couldn't get one, do it again. And you know, by the fourth time that a paramedic's saying that his equipment's faulty, that it's not faulty, it's you, you're in danger. And I wouldn't let them take me anywhere, you know. I was very sort of, I'm staying here, I'm gonna ride it out. And at this point I realized that I was actually going blind. I lost the vision in the center of my eyes, I couldn't see around it. And that's when I got quite scared, and I just lay down on my back, and I remember just staring at the ceiling in this horrible sort of hallway behind the arena, just staring at this very commercial ceiling with all air ducts and everything. I thought, this is where I'm going to die. This is it. This is where Eddie Hall dies. And I know people are like wiping blood out my ears. I had blood coming in my tear ducts in my eyes. The blood was still coming out my nose. I think it was pretty evident, I did something pretty serious. I blew something up in my head that was pretty nasty. Took me about 2.5, 3 hours for me to sort of calm down, recover, my heart rate calmed down, my blood pressure calmed down. The ECG came back all clear. And I was able to, walk, get up, do a meet and greet after the show. Got myself back to the hotel and out, just done. That was the most exhausting day of my life. The next day, I went to drive my car home, and I physically or mentally, whatever, I couldn't drive my car. I couldn't work out how to work my gear stick. I couldn't work out what the steering did. I was that mind boggled. I couldn't drive my car home. I had to get someone to come and drive me back to my home. The next day was my son's birthday party. I think it was his fourth birthday party, and I didn't remember people's names. I'm having conversations with people 2 or 3 times, the same conversation, and my wife's going to me, Eddie, you've said that 3 times now, and I'm like, oh, okay, who's that over there? That's your brother. It was quite scary when people are saying this stuff to me. I had physio the next day as well. My physio came around to the party actually, and did physio. We found some bulge vertebrae in my back, very bad bruising. But all in, apart from the bad brain bleed and the signs of concussion afterwards, I recovered within 2 weeks, mentally and physically. And I always get asked the question, you are crazy for doing that lift. Would you go back and do it again? I'm like, yeah, of course I would. But I'd add 10 kilos on. And that's what I would do. I would go even heavier because I believe that there was more in me that day, a lot more. I think that the 500 kilo, I've won the world's strongest man. I've reached the pinnacle. I've done the best thing that, in my eyes, that's the best title you can win on this planet. You can be the fastest man, the cleverest man, the fattest man, the slowest man. It doesn't mean anything to me. To be the strongest man on the planet is the alpha. And the 500 kilo deadlift topped that for me. It was above and beyond the expectation of reaction I expected. It was amazing. And I think it was that feeling of doing the impossible. It was that feeling of Roger Bannister. Roger Bannister, very vocal, said he was going to run a 4-minute mile, and everyone laughed at him. Everyone said he was an idiot, and then he did it. He made it possible, and he became that legend. He became that person that everyone remembers for the first man to run a 4-minute mile, Roger Bannister. Everyone remembers Neil Armstrong, first man on the moon, and I'm the first man to lift half a ton off the floor. And I think that for me means more than anything. It means more than a world's strongest man title. It means more than Britain's strongest man. It means more than anything. It was something that I think is going to be in the history books forever. The first man in history to lift half a ton, and I think that's I can take great satisfaction out of that. There's been a lot of talk since I pulled the 500 kilo of people wanting to pull 500 kilo, people saying they're going to pull 500 kilo, people creating different bars to make it easier to pull 500 kilo on. You know what? If you can talk the talk, walk the walk, come and lift 500 kilo on a calibrated bar, calibrated plates in front of a world's strongest man referee, nowhere to hide, 10,000 strong crowd, and pull over 500 kilo. Come and prove it. Back up your bullshit, because I'm sick to death of people saying they're going to pull 500 kilo. It's third event, or maybe I'll do it next year after a year out, or it's a different bar. I wasn't wearing a suit. Get a suit on, get your straps on, come into the World Deadlift Champs, Giants Live, and pull 501 kilos. Stop hiding away and come and do it, because I'm sick of the bullshit. It's been 4 years now, 4 years since I pulled 500 kilo off the ground, and the closest to me is 474 kilos. So cut the bullshit out and come and pull it. I do believe that there are people out there that can pull 500 kilo off the ground, but I don't believe that they've got the genitalia to put the commitment in and go to that place that I went to. I went to that place to pull 500 kilo off the ground, and I don't think anyone's got the capabilities to recreate what I did in my head and pull 500 kilo off the floor. And if they can, good luck to them. I will be the first man to say well done, because I know what it takes. Guys, I didn't realize that we were quite coming up to the 500,000 subscribers mark, but I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for the support. You know, all the views, all the likes, all the subscribes. It's been amazing. Absolutely amazing. You know, I retired from World's Strongest Man 2 years ago. I've been on a whirlwind of a life since, you know, doing TV shows, keeping my nose in the strongman, you know, doing the presenting, a little bit of lifting, did the Strongest Man of History for the History Channel. We've done Eddie Eats American, Channel Dave. I've got a lead role in a film coming up later this year. I've gone into business with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm doing the second documentary as well. It's amazing, you know. I was unsure whether I made the right decision to retire from the World's Strongest Man, and you know, I'm sitting here now, 500,000 subscribers, all these TV shows, films, whatever, all these opportunities opened up from the back of it, and from the bottom of my heart, I just want to thank every single one of you for making that possible, because if it wasn't for you guys, for the support, for the views, I wouldn't be here now. I wouldn't be sat here, I wouldn't be, you know, enjoying life, I wouldn't be living the way I am, and I just want to say a big massive thank you. Thank you for the support, and I massively appreciate it. So this is 500,000 subscriber video. Good idea, by the way, Harry, for the very fitting for the 500 kilo deadlift. So what are we going to do for the 600,000 subscriber mark? Because I think it's going to come around very fast. So hit me up in the comments. What do you want me to do for 600 subscribers, and we'll get that done. But for now, thank you so much for the support. Big love, the beast. See you later.